There was one man I felt could really give me the inside story. If anyone knew what had really gone on, it was David Shayler. The former MI5 whistleblower who'd exposed Britain's plot to kill Gaddafi had worked on the Lockerbie case and looked into all of the alternative theories.
I've seen all these conspiracy theories, but I say I looked at them and there's absolutely nothing to them. In fact, they don't really add up.
John Crawford also worked on the Lockerbie case. As a police detective, he spent 3 years of his life searching for the truth.
I've never known anything like it, the amount of conspiracy theories that's around the Lockerbie case. But you pitch in some drugs, you pitch in some money that's been lying around, and it really gets quite sexy then and quite interesting.
There's reasons for this, why the rumours won't go away. And that's because these conspiracy theories have not just been propagated by Libya, who are obviously trying to deflect attention from themselves in the light of UN sanctions and so on, but also because the relatives of the deceased have taken out a civil action against Pan Am. And therefore Pan Am lawyers in the US, who are well versed in using their Freedom of Information Act, were also using it to obtain information that might deflect attention from Pan Am being negligent, and therefore Pan Am having to pay out to relatives.
The families of the victims won their civil case against Pan Am, and any connection to Syria and Iran was ruled out by the court.
I looked at this in some detail about whether there was any Syrian or Iranian involvement. And where there did exist intelligence, it was either, from second and third hand sources, and in no case could the Iranians give us any information which would support the fact that they knew about this attack or knew anything about how it had been carried out, basically.
There is no evidence against all these leaders that are allegedly involved from Iran, Syria, you name it, any country. There's just no evidence, and you need evidence to take before a court.
What about the theory the bomb was placed on board at Frankfurt or Heathrow?
As far as I'm concerned, the bomb went on in Malta. Because the Libyan Arab Airlines had a desk almost next door to the flight that was going to Frankfurt, gave them an ideal opportunity just to put a rogue suitcase on.
But the bomb used to blow up Flight 103 was similar to the ones recovered in Germany just weeks before, wasn't it?
The device that a fragment of which was recovered from the Lockerbie attack indicated that it was in fact just a straight timer, where you set it to a certain time and it goes off at that time, basically. Crucially, the forensic aid evidence points to it not being the PFLPGC, it points to being the Libyans.
So what about the drugs for hostages story and the CIA plot to kill a rival agent?
I think it's highly unlikely that one group of CIA officers would try to assassinate another group of CIA officers and kill lots of innocent civilians in the process. And if the CIA wants to eliminate someone, they're very well versed in removing difficult people, and they would use the techniques of a car crash or a poisoning or whatever else to remove one person. Doing it in an attack like this only attracts attention, basically.
So why were US agents all over Lockerbie within a couple of hours?
There's no doubt in my mind that the CIA were on the scene, but then one of their aircraft had been bombed out of the sky and that lots of their people had been killed, so why not? There would be a reason for them to be there.
But who was the bomber? It's claimed a convicted terrorist called Abu Talib was the man who visited Malta and bought the clothes which were packed inside the bomb bag.
We had to go to Sweden and interview Mohammed Abu Talib to make sure that the times that he was said to be in Malta, he was elsewhere, and we did that with ease.
So is there really no possibility that the wrong man is in jail?
I've heard the story that McGrahy was just a fall guy for the whole thing, and that he really wasn't guilty. He just happened to be the one that's taken the rap for everybody else. But there was sufficient evidence as far as the judges were concerned to return a guilty verdict for Mr. McGrahy, and that's the end of it. No conspiracy at all.
There's still one thing that's puzzling. How come only McGrahy was convicted and Fahima was freed?
The test of a criminal trial is guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, some of the witness evidence against Fahima came from somebody who was already working as an agent of the FBI. And therefore the judges said because he was being paid by the FBI, there is an element of reasonable doubt. But to my mind, that was a technicality in a sense. If anybody was using the normal test of an official inquiry in this, I think they'd be obliged to conclude on what we know, the evidence, that Freeman was a co-conspirator.
In 2003, Libya formally accepted responsibility for the Lockerbie bombing. So perhaps Megrahi is the fall guy in a game of international politics after all. His case is being looked into by a government commission. If he wins this appeal, his file will be reopened, and the repercussions of a successful retrial would be immense. For now, he remains the only person found guilty of the Lockerbie bombing. But skeptics believe instead that either Megrahi did not act alone, or else he had nothing to do with it.
But, as with so many theories concerning Lockerbie, we'll probably never know. Good night.